Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk Tickers.
Yeah.
Today, we're strapping on our deep diving suits and plunging into the depths of Lumen Technologies Q3 2024 earnings call.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
Think of this as your insider's guide to what really matters
Yeah.
from their November 5th announcement.
You know, it's fascinating to see this telecom giant in the midst of such a dramatic transformation,
It is.
trying to shed that old school telco skin and morph into something truly cutting edge, the backbone of the AI-powered future.
And they're not just dipping their toes in the AI pool, they're doing a cannonball.
Right.
We're talking multi-billion-dollar deals to build out their private connectivity fabric, or PCF,
Huge.
to some of the biggest names in AI, Microsoft, Meta, AWS, even Google.
It's a bold strategy for sure. As AI explodes, the demand for super fast, reliable connections between those massive data centers is going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
And Lumen is betting that they can be the ones to provide that critical infrastructure.
Okay, so we've got this massive tech shift happening, but let's
Yeah.
back up for a second.
Sure.
How is Lumen actually managing this operational pivot?
Right.
I mean, they're a huge EE company, not exactly known for their agility.
Right.
Turning that ship around can't be easy.
It definitely isn't. Think of it like trying to turn an aircraft carrier.
Oh, yeah.
It takes time, and there are going to be some bumps along the way. They're facing declining revenues from their legacy business,
Yeah, that's pretty typical these days for the telecom industry.
which is pretty typical, yeah, for the telecom industry these days. But there are some bright spots.
Okay, like what?
Give us some good news.
Yeah, give us the good news.
Well, they're seeing growth in areas like IP and high-speed data connections.
Okay.
Exactly the kind of services that are going to be crucial for the AI world. And they're not just focused on the technology, they're really emphasizing customer satisfaction too.
Right. I noticed they're making a big deal about their improved net promoter scores.
Exactly. Happy customers are loyal customers, and that's essential for any company, especially one undergoing such a dramatic transformation. And let's not forget about their $1 billion cost reduction plan.
Yes. The belt tightening,
Streamlining operations.
simplifying their tech stack.
They're doing what they need to do to stay competitive and free up cash to fund those AI ambitions.
Precisely, those operational improvements are key to their long-term success.
Mhm.
Now let's zoom in on this AI backbone idea. Landing those massive PCF deals is bringing in a staggering amount of cash, over $8 billion in new sales.
Oh, wow.
It's mind-blowing when you think about the sheer scale of these networks connecting data centers across continents.
It's like building the digital nervous system of the AI age.
Exactly.
But they're not stopping there. They're also changing how businesses use those networks.
Right.
They've got this intriguing network as a service platform, NAS for short. NAS is a game changer. It's like the cloud, but for networking.
Okay.
Imagine on-demand access to all the network resources you need exactly when you need them.
Right.
Flexible, scalable, potentially much more efficient than traditional networking.
It's a brilliant analogy. Cloud computing for networking. I get it. And it looks like businesses are getting it too.
Lumen already has over 400 NAS customers, which is a strong signal that this could be a significant driver of future revenue growth.
So we've got operational changes, the AI backbone, and this move toward cloudifying the industry. But let's talk brass tacks. How did Lumen actually perform in Q3?
Yeah.
Did their big bet on AI translate into big bucks?
Well, their total revenue was down, which wasn't unexpected given the decline in their legacy business.
Right.
But their strategic focus on fiber broadband is paying off.
Okay.
They reported record customer additions for their quantum fiber product this quarter.
So some good news there. But what about their bottom line? Is their AI gamble making a dent in their profits yet?
Not significantly yet, however. Those PCF deals are bringing in a lot of cash up front.
Okay.
This gives them the financial breathing room to invest in their transformation and manage their debt while they wait for the AI wave to really crest.
They're playing the long game, which makes sense considering the scale of their ambition. It's like planting a forest. It takes time for those trees to grow and really start generating returns. But before we move on to the next segment, I'm curious about something. There were some rumors swirling about Lumen potentially selling off their consumer business.
Yeah.
Any truth to that?
There has been a lot of consolidation in the consumer broadband market lately. A sale could potentially free up a substantial chunk of capital that Lumen could then reinvest in their enterprise-focused AI strategy.
So they're streamlining, getting laser-focused on the future.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive deeper into Lumen's Q3 numbers. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Talk Tickers. We're continuing our deep dive into Lumen Technologies Q3 2024 earnings call.
All right.
We've talked big picture now. Let's get granular and unpack those numbers.
Okay, let's break it down. Their total reported revenue for Q3 came in at $3.221 billion. That's an 11.5% decline year over year.
Okay, that sounds pretty rough. But you mentioned earlier that we need to look beyond the headlines. Exactly. It's important to understand the context. A large chunk of that decline, about 32%, is due to divestitures, commercial agreements, and the sale of their CDN business.
So if we factor those out, the decline isn't quite as dramatic as it first appears, kind of like adjusting for inflation, right? You get a clearer picture of what's really going on.
Precisely. Now, if we look at their business segments specifically, revenue there declined by 12.7%.
Okay.
Again, divestitures and commercial agreements played a big role, accounting for roughly 37% of that drop.
So some of this decline is actually part of their strategic plan. They're shedding parts of the business that don't fit with their long-term vision.
That's a great point. They're streamlining to focus on the areas where they see the most potential. And we're already seeing some encouraging signs from their Grow product portfolio, particularly within their North America enterprise channels.
Remind me what falls under the Grow umbrella.
Think enterprise broadband, dark fiber, and IP, the kind of network services that businesses need to support data-intensive applications, including AI. These products saw a 4% year-over-year revenue increase, which is a significant jump from the 1.5% growth they reported last quarter.
So despite the challenges, they are gaining traction in areas crucial for future growth. Now, let's talk about their record-breaking Quantum Fiber customer additions. Adding 43,000 customers in a single quarter is impressive.
It's a testament to their strategic focus on fiber broadband, and importantly, their ability to execute. They're tapping into a powerful trend, the insatiable demand for high-speed internet access.
It's interesting how they're positioning Quantum Fiber as almost a separate business. Their fiber penetration rate at the end of Q3 was 26%, which is pretty solid.
Right.
But their legacy copper broadband penetration is lagging behind at around 9%.
That gap highlights the immense growth potential for their fiber business.
Okay.
They're betting big on fiber, and so far it seems to be paying off.
Okay, let's shift gears and look at their adjusted EBITDA, which came in at $899 million for Q3, reflecting a 27.9% margin.
That's a notable decline compared to last year's Q3. Declining revenue from the legacy business is certainly playing a role, but there are a few other factors at play as well.
Okay.
Seasonally high operating expenses for one. Plus, they've got some startup costs associated with their custom networks group.
That's the team responsible for building out those massive AI networks, right?
Exactly.
It's like building a skyscraper. You need to pour a lot of concrete before you can start seeing those floors rise.
Exactly. These initial investments are necessary to lay the foundation for future growth. They're spending money to make money, as the saying goes.
Speaking of spending money, their capital expenditures for Q3 hit $850 million.
Right.
I imagine a big chunk of that went toward those AI network builds.
It's all about building capacity to meet the ever-increasing demand for bandwidth driven by things like AI cloud computing and the explosion of connected devices. But even with those increased capital expenditures, their free cash flow remained positive at $1.2 billion for Q3.
That's right. Those upfront payments from their PCF sales are acting like a financial cushion, giving them the flexibility to make strategic investments without jeopardizing their stability. It's a smart move, especially considering the uncertainty surrounding their 2025 outlook.
Right.
They've hinted that they expect EBITDA to decline year over year in 2025. What's driving that prediction?
It's a mix of factors, continued pressure from their legacy business. For one, then there are the ramp-up costs associated with those PCF contracts, plus the incremental costs that come with any large-scale transformation initiative.
So they're bracing for some turbulence in 2025, but they remain focused on improving their cost structure and ultimately driving margin expansion.
Absolutely. And they're taking steps to strengthen their financial foundation. Look at their recent debt exchange, for example, where they toned out over $800 million in near-term maturities to 2032.
That's a smart way to reduce their short-term debt obligations and create more breathing room to invest in their long-term vision.
Exactly. It's all about creating a more sustainable financial future.
Now, before we move on to the final segment, I want to circle back to something Lumen's CEO Chris emphasized during the call. He stressed transparency, both the good and the bad, and a commitment to delivering on their promises.
That's crucial, especially given the skepticism that often surrounds bold pronouncements about becoming the backbone of anything. Actions speak louder than words. The coming quarters will reveal whether they can truly walk the walk.
It's a high-stakes game, but they seem to have the resources, the strategy, and the determination to pull it off. Okay, let's take a final look at the big picture after the break. Welcome back to Talk Tickers. We've spent the last two segments dissecting Lumen Technologies' Q3 2024 earnings call, poring over their strategic shifts, their ambitious AI play, and their current financial performance.
Now let's zoom out and consider the larger landscape.
Yeah.
Lumen's transformation isn't just about one company.
Right.
It reflects the massive tectonic shifts happening across the entire telecommunications industry.
It's like they're navigating a digital earthquake. The rise of AI, the shift toward cloud computing, this insatiable hunger for faster, more reliable connectivity, it's a whole new world.
Exactly. And Lumen's success or failure will send ripples throughout the industry.
Yeah.
If they can pull off this reinvention,
Right.
it could chart a new course for other telecom giants struggling to adapt.
It's almost like they're a test case, proving that even these massive, well-established companies can evolve and stay relevant in a rapidly changing tech landscape. Kind of like when Netflix went from mailing DVDs to streaming movies.
Oh, yeah.
A total game changer.
That's a great comparison. And think about the implications if Lumen successfully positions itself as the backbone of the AI economy.
Yeah.
They become indispensable, holding the keys to this incredibly powerful technology.
That gives them enormous leverage, not just in terms of pricing, but also in shaping the future of networking itself. They're not just reacting to the AI revolution, they're helping to write the rules.
Absolutely. That's why it's crucial to understand these developments. We can't be passive bystanders in this technological revolution. We need to be informed participants.
That was just power.
Right.
So let's recap. What are the key takeaways our listeners should walk away with from this deep dive into Lumen Technologies?
First, the telecom industry is at a crossroads.
Okay.
Legacy business models are crumbling, and companies that fail to adapt are in serious trouble.
Survival of the fittest digital edition.
Exactly. Second, the AI boom is creating unprecedented opportunities.
Right.
And Lumen is going all in, betting big on their ability to ride this wave.
Those multi-billion-dollar PCF deals are a clear sign of their commitment.
Third, Lumen's transformation is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
There will be challenges and setbacks along the way. Their 2025 outlook suggests some potential turbulence as they navigate this transition.
But they seem to have the resources and the vision to weather the storm.
And finally, the most important takeaway, this is the story that's still unfolding. Lumen's success is far from guaranteed. The coming quarters will be critical in determining whether they can deliver on their ambitious promises.
All right, time for some fun. It's our favorite segment. This is not financial advice. Let's brainstorm an outrageous yet plausible trade idea based on what we've learned about Lumen today.
Okay, here's one. Buy Lumen stock, but simultaneously sell covered calls against it.
Okay.
If the stock price stays flat or drops, you keep the premium from selling those calls.
Okay.
But if their AI play explodes and the stock skyrockets,
Yeah.
you're obligated to sell.
Not a bad problem to have a potential win-win scenario. But of course, folks, this is purely hypothetical for entertainment purposes only.
This is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Lumen Technologies. It's a fascinating company at a pivotal moment, and we'll be watching closely to see how their story unfolds. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep with Talk Tickers.